like it that I've seen. For example, somebody wants to look up the story that happened with Yiftach. So he has to search through the entire Tanakh to find where it is and then read all the psukim. Sometimes it's 2-3 chapters to get the story. Here, everything is divided by topic. So you're able to, open up to the chapter where it says Yiftach is discussed. You can go through and you have the whole story right there, point by point, subject by subject, chapter by chapter. It's in the process. We're actually doing this. We're starting today. I'm going to send out dedication opportunities for the book, and there's a process from after I'm done my work until it goes to publishing, and has to go through editing. And so Hashem, it'll be out hopefully soon. I don't know how soon, but that's the first book. Is a 300-page book on the laws of Kriyas HaTorah. This is a book more permanent to men than to women, but there's a lot of very interesting things also that have relevance to women in the Sefer. And it's one of the first of its kind that I've ever seen in English. Even in Hebrew, there's not that much available, where it compiles all the laws of Kriyas HaTorah together in organized fashion. And, the laws of Kriyas HaTorah is one of those subjects that you can't wait to look it up in a book. The Torah's open, everyone's, not just the Torah's open, everyone's on your back. You need to finish davening, you need to move on. So it's something that a person really needs to know well. And there's a lot of intricate. So this is hopefully going to turn into a bestseller in all the shuls, because every shul needs to have one in order to know what to do. No, all my books I put out all opinions. So all my books are made for Sfardim, Ashkenazim. Obviously, I'm not an expertise in other, in the details of other fields of other sects, but the basics are written out. Okay. Before we begin, I just want to mention a quick note on Tuesday's elections. So as we know, this is our second time trying again. And we'll just reiterate some of the directives as Bavchik Chassidim we are careful to follow when it comes to elections. So first of all, we, unlike some, we view that voting is an absolute religious responsibility. It's a right and a responsibility, as our vote can sway many different things of political preference in the country. And as a religious Jew, we always try to vote for the parties that are the most, that stand up for our values the most as religious Jews. When the Rebbe Rashab once directed Chassidim to vote in Russia amongst Russian politicians, but it was a vote that was crucial for the religious public if one side won and if the other side lost. So it's told over that one chassid, when he came, he put on the Shabbos clothing, his kapata and his gartel. And Chassidim asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, when we fulfill a hira of the Rebbe, we got to do it with all of our Yantiv garb. So this is no different." So he came to vote for whatever Russian he was voting for with his Shabbos clothing. I'm not saying you have to wear Shabbos clothing on the election day. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it is an obligation for everybody to vote. And the directives of who to vote for, so as is known, Chabad officially does not involve itself in endorsing any party. We don't endorse parties. We just reiterate guidelines that the Rebbe gave us, and that is that we should vote for the most religious party, the one who stands up the most for our values, and of course a party that will pass the threshold for certain. As if they don't, the way it works here, the electoral system, is that they divide the votes that don't make it between all the parties. So a vote that didn't make it into a party that passed ends up going partially to all the other parties, including the Arab parties, including the left parties, and non-religious parties. So especially in a vote like in an election like this, which is really an election that's taking place because two parties did not pass. That's the history. Because two parties did not pass, we're having this election again. So Bezdin Rabbani Chabad came out with a directive, as they concluded there, that it's binding on every Lubavitcher Chassid to only vote for parties that will for certain pass the threshold. Don't give a chance for the vote to go to waste. Okay. With that said, That doesn't mean that we don't believe necessarily in what other parties are going for, but if there's not enough for them to make it, so then it's not. They're not going to make a difference in the actual election if we can't vote for it at this point. Today is 15th of Elul. Let's discuss a little bit of the meaning of the day before we go straight back into our material. We're middle of the Rosh Hashanah davening. Anyone remember where we were middle of? We were middle of Shachris. We had a nice week break. Halavai, we had such a break during the actual Rosh Hashanah, as some shuls do. They have a little bit of a break before Tkiyah Shofar. They have a huge kiddush, a huge party, chugel, cholent, herring. You come home, you're stuffed. That's how, by the way, that's the trick of how many of the different Hasidic groups, they end Rosh Hashanah davening literally like by mincha time. And then they daven mincha, and then they go straight for Ma'ariv, and literally they're there from the early morning until after Ma'ariv. They only go home and have their meal. How do they do that? Because they don't tell you that in between had a 2-hour break of a massive kiddush. Kiddush, a kiddush. And when do they do it? Like breakfast. They have it right after Shachris, before Tkiyah Shofar. Okay. So today, the 15th of Elul, is the day that the famous yeshiva that was founded by the Rebbe Rashab was founded. It was founded in the year 1897, Tafresh and Zion. Until then, there was no official Chabad yeshiva. There were chadarim where people learned in their community with malamdim. There were other yeshivas that people went to. There was no established Lubavitch yeshiva under a leadership of the Chabad Rebbeim, and this is when it was founded. And the Rebbe Rashab stated that the purpose of him founding this yeshiva is so it to be a yeshiva that focuses on learning Chassidus, and to create Jews who are meiser nefesh for Yiddishkeit. That Judaism becomes the essence of their blood. And we see that the Tmimim of Temchi Tmimim, the next generation that were brought up from this, they were able to stand steadfast to Stalin in Russia, while, as per the testimony of many other groups, everyone else either fled or fell. But no one was able to stand up to Stalin. And we see statistically that those who went through Temchi Tmimim were able to have Mesiras Nefesh ad kedei kach, that they or their families never made it out because of this Mesiras Nefesh. Some people say, well, what good is it that the Lubavitcher testifies about Lubavitchers? But the truth is, this is not just testified by Lubavitchers. There's a number of non-Lubavitchers who were in Russia, and they testify to the same exact thing. Who stayed, which men remained standing, and which didn't. And this is what we see, that the vision of the Rebbe Rashab that he saw would be necessary was why he created this new manufacturing of a yeshiva in order to establish Yidden, who Judaism for them is their blood and soul, and they won't give it up. So this was today. Yesterday was also a special date. Yesterday was Yud Daled Elul. What's special about Yud Daled Elul? Anyone know? Anniversary. That's Yud Gimel. That's my initials also, but Yud Daled. What's special about Yud Daled? The first day of Sheva Brachas, right?
The British Rabbi arrived in New York, wasn't it?
Was Tess Other.
When he came on his first visit on the 14th.
Oh, his first visit, right, Tafresh Peitas. So it's beautiful that we know all this Lubavitch history. Many people may know more than me. I don't have as much time to delve into Lubavitch history as I would love to. I'm working my way up from Moses on Sinai until I can reach. And so there's actually something written in the Gemara about Daled Elul. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, and it's recorded in the Shulchan Aruch, that the 14th of Elul is the day that we're supposed to begin learning the laws of Sukkot. It's 30 days before the Chag. It's 30 days before Sukkot. We begin learning the laws of Sukkot. By Pesach, when we tell people on Purim, it's 30 days before Pesach. So some people say that's great, and other people on the table say, oh my gosh, why do you have to tell me? It's usually a gender matter. For some strange reason, we see the gender divide on this one. But on Sukkot, I think everybody's happy. No one's really complaining. And then we start beginning to learn the laws on the 14th of Elul. So we're just going to review one or two points. We're not going to